So in this video, we'll be looking at handwriting analysis and how a forensic scientist might use this in their work. Now, analyzing handwriting is one of the earliest and most prominent forms of document examination. A forensic scientist can use a number of different attributes and characteristics to correctly examine and match handwritten samples. Now, the first of these characteristics that we will look at is the spacing and slant of the letters, as well as the spacing of words. So if we look at the example, Jack and Jill went up the hill, the capital J in Jack and the capital J in Jill are spaced away from the rest of the name, and this is something that the writer will often do without thinking about. And at the bottom, the space between word formations, spaces can be large and spaces can be short depending on the writer. Next, we have the formation of loops, letters such as O, A, P, or Y. Loops can be narrow or they can be wide, they can be tall or short. Pressure on the page. If we look at the light example, we can see that the lines are thinner, and because of that, the text is smaller. Whereas in the heavy pen pressure example, the lines are thicker and the writing is a little bit larger. The dotting of letters I and J, as well as the crossing of the letter T. So I's and J's can be dotted in many different ways, lightly, firmly, to the left of the stem, to the right of the stem, with a circle, with a jab, or no dot at all. And in a similar way, T's can be crossed differently, with a light dash, a heavy one, to the left of the stem to the right, concave like a V or convex like an N. They can even remain uncrossed. How the letters are joined. Do words begin with a flourish or embellishment, like a loop? Or do they begin with a straight line? And do they end with a loop? Or do they end abruptly? Writers might also use a combination of printing and writing. So if we look at the word Pacific, we can see that the F is handwritten and the rest of the letters in that word are printed. The formation of less common letters, such as X, V, Z, or Y. The size of the words. Are the words tall or short? Do they start tall and end short? Or do they get larger over time? Extraneous marks on the page, that just means are there dashes or loops that aren't necessarily needed. And finally, the writing tool used. So these 12 things are different characteristics that a forensic scientist might use when examining a piece of written work. So let's look at a scenario. This is Tom, and Tom is having a pretty great day until he got back to his desk from lunch and he found a note. The note said, "Watch out, my eyes are on you." Now, the villain in this scenario made a fatal mistake. They signed their sheet. And luckily, Tom had a plan. Tom decided to go to his boss and ask for permission to get writing samples from each of the employees in the office. So Tom went around and he got each person to write one sentence on a strip of paper. And the sentence that he chose is, "The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog." Now, why would he choose this sentence? Well, the reason is because each letter in the alphabet can be found in this sentence. So Tom took these strips and compared it to the note, and he found that A did not match. It's printed instead of handwritten. B is handwritten, but some of the letters just did not match up, especially the Y and the N. C is, again, printed, not handwritten. D uses a combination of handwriting and printing, whereas in our note, we can see that it's all handwritten. E, again, printed. But then Tom got to F, and he was able to match a lot of the similar letters, such as the U and the A and the big F. And Tom knew who wrote the note. So thank you for watching this video, and we'll see you next time.